Continue, who's next? Bobby Whittenberg.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Bobby Whittenberg. I'm a veteran of the war against the people of Iraq. I served with 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines out of 29 Palms, California. I was a rifleman, and I was wounded April 14th, 2004. I'm here today to talk a little bit about not so much myself, but my involvement and the effects of war on a society. I was the 3rd generation in my family to be in the United States military. I was the 1st Marine. I was brought up in a very patriotic home, believing that wherever the American flag flew, that it was spreading freedom. And I came to find that there could be nothing further from the truth. I joined the military because I bought the line about weapons of mass destruction and overthrowing a brutal regime. But I would come to find that that had really nothing to do with it. But I would also come to find, as Howard Zinn, the late Howard Zinn spoke, that even if you do have a just cause, that does not necessarily mean that you have a just war. If you're going into a country and your intent is truly to overthrow a dictator, if you wage war on those people, you wage war on the people who have been oppressed by that dictator. And so even if you do have a cause that is just, if you have a grievance that is just, war is never justified, because modern war always kills civilians, always destroys homes, always destroys lives. And it destroys not only the homes of the people and lives of the people that you're waging the war against, but it begins to destroy your society at home as well. It destroys the lives of the people who serve in the military, it destroys the lives of their families, and it can destroy the lives of anyone they come in contact with. There's been a long history that's been covered up of dissent and revolt within the ranks of the military. As far back as the American Revolution, there were revolts, there was dissents. In fact, there was a revolt in the Pennsylvania line of thousands, and General Washington negotiated with them. And later, when there was a dissent in the New Jersey line of hundreds, George Washington had those people executed. Even in the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, they began to develop a class consciousness, seeing that their officers were given fine clothes, good food, while the enlisted people were left without boots, without rations sometimes. And it's the same today. It all boils down to class. If you look at the way the officers are treated, look at the officer corps, and then look at the way the enlisted people are treated, it's the working class, the poor, the underclass that suffer always in war. Many times we think of the cost of war being in dollars, but the price of this war so far is over 1 million people who we have attacked. They're dead. There are over 5,000 American troops who are dead. And those of us that come back wounded, we have to fight to receive the medical care we deserve, the mental health care that we deserve. There's such a small number of mental health professionals in the military as compared to the people who see combat, to the people who see fight. And so even if you do believe that this war is justified, I would think that then, ergo, we should believe that we should support the people who go and fight with medical care, with mental health care, with making sure that they can be reintegrated into our society in a healthy way. Because as it stands now, we've seen examples of domestic violence, alcohol abuse, drug abuse. 18 veterans kill themselves every day. That's not a result of a healthy society. That's not a result of integrating people back into society. That's absolute neglect for the underclass. As the United States continues to occupy other countries, we need to ask, like, what would we do if, say, China or Russia or someone came to occupy this country? We call the people who fight back terrorists, but who are the terrorists when we're in their country invoking fear, using terror to bring about our political and socioeconomic ends? If people were to come to the United States, of course we'd be out in the streets fighting. We'd be fighting for our land, we'd be fighting for our homes, We'd be fighting for our families, the way the people of Iraq are, the way the people of Afghanistan are, the way the people of Yemen and Pakistan are, and whoever the target du jour is. We would do the exact same thing. And so it seems that the terrorists would be the ones occupying people's homes, shooting people, putting people on the ground, who go in and destroy towns with absolutely no cause. This is no different than if there was a murder committed and in your town and people coming into your neighborhood because you live in the same place, and we're kicking down doors and not even knowing if a murder had actually been committed, but just coming into your homes, searching your homes, treating you as less than human. This is what we're doing to people all over the world, and this is what's being done in our name. It seems, as we talk now, we've been in this economic recession, and it seems that they speak so much of what we can't afford, but it seems that we can afford to send tanks and troops and helicopters and guns all over the world to kill people and spread capitalism, but then you tried to tell me that we can't afford to give our own citizens health care. You say that that we have enough money to fund corporate bailouts, but we can't afford education. All this, and now there's been a spending freeze on nearly everything but the military. So I think we can see where the priorities of the Democratic Party lie at this point. And it's not with the people. It's never been with the people. It's been with Wall Street, and will continue to be with Wall Street. So we, as people, need to step away from the idea of parties, need to step away from the idea of representative government, and we need to start thinking about democracy. We need to start thinking about people. I'll close with this. While large corporations profit, veterans stick guns in their mouths in lonely bedrooms. For their empire, we come home in flag-draped coffins. For their bonuses, we live out our days battling alcoholism, drug abuse, and PTSD. And so it is as it always has been. This is not a struggle between nations, but a struggle between classes. It seems that as we bleed, they bleed. As we die, they die. As we suffer, they suffer. So it becomes clear that we have more in common with our victims than with our leaders. This will never end at the behest of politicians or corporations because they profit from it and they gain power from it. This will end when soldiers refuse to fight. This will end when common people, when civilians engage in acts of resistance and through the resistance of the people who we oppress. We're not countries or nations or governments. We're people. And we have to start acting as people and acting in solidarity with people around the world. It always comes down to class. It always comes down to the haves and the have-nots and those above and those below. Fight for your class, not for your country. All power to the people.